Hey everybody, welcome to the very first video of the Chia Seed series. Today we're going to be starting off with a chocolate chip chia seed banana bread, and this bread is perfect if you have a sweet tooth like me. It can be a great alternative for your traditional cookies and candy, especially if you're on a weight loss journey like myself. So let's take a look at the ingredients. So the first thing that we're going to need for this recipe will be, of course, bananas. And the spottier the banana, the better, because it'll be a lot more sweet. The next thing that we need is some regular all-purpose flour. Next, we're going to need some brown sugar, and this is just to sweeten the bread up a little more. But of course, if you don't want your bread that sweet, you can always omit it. The next thing that we're going to need is some salt, and I have pink Himalayan salt, but you can use whatever salt that you have on hand. And to help our bread rise, we're going to need some baking powder. And next, we're going to need an egg. And it's best that the egg be at room temperature. Next is some almond milk, and I do have a video coming up later this week showing you how I make my own almond milk. The next thing is some softened butter, but I chose to melt mine just so that it incorporated a lot more easily. And I chose to add some chocolate chips just because I wanted that extra sweetness, because like I said, I do have a really big sweet tooth. And last but not least is omega-3 himself, the star of the show, chia seeds. So as you can see here, I've already peeled and put my bananas in a bowl, and now I'm just mashing them. And I did spend quite a lot of time doing this because although you don't have to get it as smooth as I did, you can leave some chunks in there, and you'll have little bits and pieces of banana in your bread. But I don't like it like that, so I took a lot of time getting it almost to like a applesauce consistency. And here I'm kind of just like showing you the texture that I like. And honestly, from here it's smooth sailing, because after this we're going to just begin pouring all of our ingredients into the bowl. Now, I will be giving the measurements of each ingredient, but in case you're not following along, the recipe will be in the description box below. So first we see here 2 tablespoons of the melted butter, and then next is half a cup of almond milk, and after that you will see 1/4 teaspoon of the pink Himalayan salt. And next is the half a cup of brown sugar. And with the brown sugar, you can use whatever kind of sugar you want. And of course, just 1 egg. And it is important to note that it's best not to do what I just did. It's better to crack your egg apart away from the bowl, just to prevent any kind of like shells from going in. And next I'm going to be putting in 1.5 cups of the flour, the all-purpose flour. And here I'm running it through a sifter just so that the flour is a lot smoother when I go into mix, because it makes it was very lumpy, and if I just were to have put it in, the batter would have been very lumpy and took a lot more time to incorporate. And next is 2 tablespoons of baking powder, and last but not least is 1/3 cup of the chia seeds. Now, originally I started off mixing this by hand, but I realized that it wasn't combining as well, so I just went in with my electric mixer, and I was able to get the batter as smooth as possible. Now, I was a little overboard with the mixing just because I wanted to make sure that it was being mixed properly and that there were no little flour balls inside. Even though I sifted it, I just wanted to make sure that everything was well combined. And if mixing wasn't enough, if the hand mixer wasn't enough, I went in another time with the spatula just to make sure that everything was incorporated properly. And here I'm just showing you the texture that my batter was after I had been mixing, and I was left with like a very smooth, very well combined batter. And next I'm going to throw in the chocolate chips. Now I will say this, the chocolate chips that I used were a little bit big. I didn't mean to get the mega chunks, but hey, it is what it is. And here I'm just mixing it and making sure that all the chocolate chips are all around the batter. That way no one spot has too many chocolate chips. And then after that, I got my loaf pan, and before putting in the batter, I sprayed it with some olive oil spray. And this was just so that once one, it was free, it made for an easy cleanup, and two, when I was the bread had cooled and I was getting ready to cut it out, it wouldn't stick to the pan. And here I'm just putting the batter into the loaf pan, and with this I wanted to make sure that I wasn't getting all the batter in one spot, so you'll see me at the end smoothing it down and evening it out. And that's just so that when it is being baked, there's no one spot, like there's not too much batter in one spot, and that would leave like parts raw or unevenly cooked for the most part. And oh my goodness, you guys, after 15 to 20 minutes in the oven at like 400 degrees, you're left with this perfectly golden brown banana bread. And you can see that when I cut it open, it is perfectly moist and soft. And one of the ways that you can tell if your bread is cooked through or not is by the toothpick test, and that's just basically placing a toothpick in the center of the bread, and if it has batter on it, you're probably going to need a few more minutes. And one of the things that I liked about this bread is the crunch that the chia seeds gave it. It added a little bit more texture to it. And one of the combinations that will be the best of all time is peanut butter and banana. So once the bread was done, I poured a little bit of melted peanut butter over top of the bread, and it just gave the bread an extra just yes. And there it is, you guys, chocolate chip chia seed banana bread. I hope you guys decide to give this recipe a try, and if you like what you saw, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.